Next, from Springfield, Governor Rauner is joined by several heads of state departments as he touts the accomplishments of the newly formed Department of Innovation and Technology, which was tasked with centralizing information technology services into a single agency and to upgrade IT infrastructure across existing state agencies. This runs about 20 minutes.
Wow, it's quite a hum going on behind us, isn't it? Can you guys, can you guys all hear me? Is it all right? It's pretty loud. All right, good morning. Good news is I have a loud voice. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today's an important day talking about the progress we're making in transforming our state government so it's working better for the people of Illinois and we're driving more value for Illinois taxpayers. As we've talked with you in the past, Illinois has been woeful. We've been way behind, decades behind, in use of technology to provide higher quality services, more efficient services for the people of Illinois. And unfortunately, we've spent a lot of money on our technology while providing a low level of service and a low level of modernization. And we're in the process of transforming that. As I think you recall, it's been about 2 months, it's been about 60 days since I was with you when we announced the signing of our executive order creating the Department of Innovation and Technology, headed by Director Hardik Bhatt, who's with us here today. And the point of creating that department is to streamline our technology processes, bring them all together in one department, bring professional management, many from the private sector, where the business community has generally been far better than the government sector in providing high quality technology services. And we want to change the simple fact that we're one of the highest spending states in the nation on IT. We've been about the third highest spending state for quite a few years. This is not just a one-year issue. We've been a high spending state on IT, but we're one of the worst states for digital services delivered. We're in the bottom few states. We've got to change that. We've got to invest our money wisely and provide much more digital services, higher quality services. That will allow us to lower the cost of government, provide a more effective, efficient environment for our hardworking state employees so they can be more productive and have a higher quality work environment for them. And we can drive better value for taxpayers, all while making the government more effective in delivering services. We can lower wait times and processing times from often months down to weeks and sometimes days on many of our services that we're providing to the people of Illinois. Today, I'm very pleased that we're joined by Secretary Schneider from the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. We're also joined by Director John Baldwin, who's head of our Department of Corrections, and each of them, along with our head of the Department of Innovation and Technology, Hardik Bhatt, will talk about some of the transformation that has been underway to drive more value for taxpayers, increase the quality and efficiency of services for the people of Illinois, and provide a better work environment for our hardworking state employees. And with that, I'd like to turn the podium over now to Secretary Schneider from the Department of Financial and Professional Regulations to talk about what's going on in his department. Secretary Schneider.
Thank you, Governor. The Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, which I have the privilege to head now, is responsible for licensing and supervising over 330 state-chartered banks, 220 state-chartered credit unions, all non-depository financial institutions in the state of Illinois, and most importantly for today's conversation, over 1.1 million Illinois professionals, ranging from physicians and accountants and architects to barbers, cosmetologists, and security officers. In February of this year, our department began a departure from a technology experience for our stakeholders that was eerily reminiscent of the mid-1980s. We made a series of simple but impactful changes in how we do business, implementing a process that allows us to communicate electronically with the professionals licensed and regulated by our divisions of professional regulation and real estate. We now communicate with our professionals exclusively through electronic means concerning the license renewal process, and with all of our licensees, both new applicants and those who are renewing, when delivering to them confirmation of their licensure. These changes make interactions with our licensees concerning something as important as their license renewal track more closely with real-life experiences, where important notices are routinely delivered electronically and items received in the snail mailbox are regularly deposited directly to the trash. Additionally, licensees may now access digital copies of their license via a computer or a mobile device on our website, a process that again was previously accomplished through the U.S. Postal Service at a greater cost and with much greater delays. By shifting to digital processes, we increase efficiency, reduce costs, and provide an overall improved experience for our stakeholders. These moves towards a paperless licensing process will save the state millions of dollars in avoided postage, printer, and paper and printing costs alone in the coming years. And I think it's important to note that these changes were not the result of a new and expensive technology system, but rather they were possible because of the careful thinking and hard work of our leadership team, who figured out how to tap the unused value of our existing systems, and then of all of our team members who executed on that plan in a dedicated and quick and prompt fashion. Since making the transition, we've processed already over 140,000 renewals and new license applications for Illinois professionals. Of course, there's more work to be done. As we move forward, we look to transform our entire licensure process, soup to nuts, from the day a person completes the educational requirements required for their profession and throughout their entire career, to an online paperless environment. And we'll remain closely attuned to the needs of our stakeholders so that we can nimbly respond to inefficiencies that they see that add no protections to Illinois citizens. We're confident these changes will contribute to Governor Rauner's critically important efforts to turn this state of Illinois around. At this point, I'm pleased to introduce my colleague, John Baldwin, Director of the Illinois Department of Corrections, who will discuss a recent innovation at that agency. John?
Great, thank you very much. Good morning. On December 14th, 2015, the Illinois Department of Corrections rolled out Offender 360. And in one large step, we went from 1970 mainframe technology to the cloud. We are excited about our future. It will allow us to shift from an output-based system, which only counted numbers and didn't give you outcomes. Our new system, Offender 360, will allow us to measure outcomes. It's important that staff at all levels of our operation know what outcomes we get from our programs, from our services, and how we can improve upon those. Offender 360 will allow us to do that. Equally as important, it will also allow us to inform staff at all levels of our operation more about the offender that they are supervising at that moment or working with than anybody in Illinois Corrections has ever experienced. Staff will have more knowledge, more information to make better choices, which will result in better outcomes. Offender 360 is truly transformational. It gives us the opportunity to truly dig down into all of our offenders to get better results. Better results will reduce recidivism and will keep Illinois citizens safer. We want to have better outcomes so that we can reduce victims and at the same time keep staff safe and offenders safe. Offender 360 for us is transformational. It is for us a major upgrade, as I said earlier, from a COBOL-based system to the cloud. We can do things in the cloud to help keep staff safe, offenders safe, and improve outcomes. And for that, we are deeply pleased to have the technology available to us. It will get better over time. And the person who helped us launch Offender 360 after a couple of failures in previous years is this state's CIO. HardicBot brought exceptional intelligence and enthusiasm and commitment helping us roll out 360, and we would not be here today talking about our success if it wasn't for Illinois CIO, who I'm pleased to introduce, HardicBot. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Director Baldwin. It's really been an honor and privilege to serve the Illinois taxpayers under the leadership of Governor Rauner and with partners like Secretary Schneider and Director Baldwin. I mean, we have been preparing for this day for a year now. We took over technology of Illinois over a year ago, and we found it in multiple silos. We found it with inconsistent technology and security practices. We found it with unbalanced, out of balance cost structure, as the governor was explaining to us before. And we also found it with very insufficient focus on the return on the taxpayer money. So we started this transformation journey all the way back over a year ago. As I told before, I've told many times before, our oldest system dates back to 1974, and we want to transform and modernize Illinois technology as much as possible by 2019. So it's a 45-year journey. Now, technology can be seen as a commodity, or technology can be seen as an incredible catalyst for change. And the governor saw technology's value as a transformation agent. So we embarked on that 45-year journey to cover as much as we can over the next 4 years. And this transformation, what I call the digital transformation of our state, stands on 4 major transformational pillars. The first pillar of this transformation is cultural transformation. I mean, an organization like State of Illinois, which has lived in silos for years, has deeply rooted culture, which only thinks in silos, only thinks in agencies. And over the last year, we have been able to successfully change that to a collaborative culture. Agency CIOs now work together. We saw how Director Baldwin rolled out, and it was not just one agency, it was multiple agency technology people working together for a successful rollout. And we continue that cultural transformation as we progress and accelerate this transformation. The second key pillar for transformation is operational transformation. So we have 420 systems that manage our finance, HR, procurement, grants, and many basic business requirements or operations. We have 3,000 systems across the campus that do a lot of our business functions. And what that breeds is kind of a lot of operational inconsistency. I'll give you an example. If an agency wants to buy a paperclip today, they have to go through 4 systems. 3 of those systems require manual entry in each of those systems, one after the other. And the 4th system requires the 3rd system to be converting that data into a tape and then running that tape into another agency. Can somebody check if we are in 2016 or 1986? I mean, that's the operational transformation that we are already working on deploying an enterprise resource planning, or what we call the ERP system. And that's going to provide a unified financial HR system to all of the agencies with the executive branch, the treasurer's office, and the comptroller's office. And will basically finally be coming into 2016, which we should have done a couple of decades ago. The third key pillar to transformation is customer service transformation. The governor talked about how difficult it is for our customers to deal with the state of Illinois, to get service from the state of Illinois, and we need to transform that. What we heard from Secretary Schneider about how business licenses, it's much easier to now get your or see your digitized business license even on your mobile phone. I mean, mobile is our premier platform today. Majority of the people like to deal with their smartphones, and we need to start putting more of these stuff onto the mobile front end. And the last and the most critical aspect of transformation is organizational transformation. For all of the transformation I talked about before, for them to happen, and not just happen, but to accelerate those transformation, we need a well-defined, streamlined, well-structured IT organization, and that is what the governor did with the executive order that he signed a couple of months ago, and that is becoming a reality with the bipartisan legislature support that we got for this executive order. And Department of Innovation and Technology not only will accelerate the transformation, but what it will do is we have a 1,700 strong professional IT workforce. So we will be able to now focus on their training. We'll be able to focus on their career paths. The idea is we want to continue this journey. We want to continue creating these transformational new projects that we are doing, working with the Secretary of FPR or Corrections and many others. But at the same time, over the next 3 months, we will complete the new organization structure, the new leadership structure, the new governance structure, how the IT gets done, because eventually what we want to do is make Illinois the most competitive state, not just in the country, but across the globe. So Governor, thank you very much once again for your executive leadership and vision to make this a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, thank you. At this point, I'd like to open up for questions. I'm sure there are various topics we'll want to get into, but if we could focus on this particular issue in the beginning, that would be great. Any questions for either myself or our various leaders in the administration?
So you mentioned that this was, actually somebody mentioned that this was basically a repurposing of what already existed. You didn't have to buy a bunch of expensive systems, right? So was there any upfront cost to this project?
Well, some of our initiatives will have no upfront cost. In fact, they'll very quickly result in cost savings, which is the case in the Department of Financial and Professional Regulations. Others will require some investment, but when I've seen the numbers, it's very quick payback. Most of what we're looking at has, if it requires some upfront cash, the turnaround and repayment of that cash plus multiple gain for taxpayers will be very substantial. Any other questions on this issue? All right. Okay. Any other topics that folks want to talk about?
Governor, we seem to be hitting critical mass at a lot of state universities. This week, Chicago State University is asking for keys to be turned in. What are you doing to try to strike a deal with Democratic lawmakers? Is that something that can happen or needs to happen in the next week or two with lawmakers?
I am very upset that Chicago State University may have to close their doors and ask for the keys for the employees. That's an outrage. That should never happen. There's really no excuse for it. I believe that the supermajority in the legislature is using Chicago State and many other service providers in Illinois as leverage to try to force a massive tax hike. I believe that's what's going on, and that's wrong. We have a bipartisan bill that has been introduced in the General Assembly by Democrats and Republicans. It has bipartisan support where we could use special purpose funds. We could use special purpose funds that are excess. They're not needed for their special designation. We could use that money, it's more than $160 million right now, to fund Chicago State, fund Eastern Illinois University, fund Governor State, and other schools that are struggling financially, that don't have the same financial resources as some of our bigger universities. We could keep their doors open, we could keep their staffs employed, and this we could keep it open for not for years, but for the rest of this year while we're working out the rest of the budget compromise. There's an answer, it's been put forward, it should be called to a vote, and it should pass. It's the right thing to do, it has bipartisan support.
Have you talked to leadership about moving that bill forward? I mean, Democrats have been clear the path they're going on, you've been clear on your path, and no one's kind of crossing here.
Well, there are ongoing conversations among myself and members of the General Assembly, members of the General Assembly with each other, Democrats and Republicans. There are ongoing conversations. For quite a while, there has not been a direct conversation between myself and Speaker Madigan. Immediately after the primary, I had received information that the Speaker, for a number of weeks, quite a few weeks prior to the primary, did not really want to talk about reforms or the budget, wanted to focus on other things. So we waited until after the primary. Our office reached out to the Speaker's office immediately after the primary and said, now that's done, could we find a time to get together, Speaker and Governor, to talk about the process going forward, to try to negotiate a budget with reforms. We have not yet received a date from the Speaker's office on when he would be willing to meet to discuss that. There have been some folks who said, Governor, just call for a four-leader meeting. I have done that a number of times in the last 9 months. Most of those the Speaker has declined. He did participate in a few in the late fall. He didn't participate actively in those meetings, but he did attend. And in the last one that we called, he didn't attend. So, and I don't believe, when we look at the compromises and the nature of the negotiation process, I don't believe that those involved will make significant compromises in a group. I think it's going to take one-on-one discussions, my own belief. And so that's the reason I'm eager to meet with the speaker, and I told him I'll meet in Springfield, Chicago, anytime, any day of the week. I hope we can get together soon. I've also expressed my frustration to the leadership in the supermajority, both the president and the speaker, that they had their caucus leave Springfield for a month when we're in the middle of this crisis with Chicago State, with our MAP grants. We have a solution for MAP grants. Our kids who need scholarships should get their money today. If we did procurement reform, and the Democrats in the General Assembly support procurement reform, that could save $500 million. We could use that money to fund MAP grants today. Unfortunately, my sense is the desire with the leadership in the supermajority is no reforms, let's force a tax hike. And we don't need to do that. It's wrong. It's not the right answer for the long term.
Characterizes your request for a meeting differently than you do. The staff called staff about a dinner. Are you seriously, as governor, you can't find a telephone to call the speaker? And again, it's like after you got inaugurated. I just called President Coulter when you won the election, and they said you didn't. And this time they say there was no such request for a direct meeting. I mean, why is it that you can't communicate, and it's been like 2 weeks since you said this?
Yeah, Bernie, I think you can sense when games are being played. I'm trying to get something done. There are games. The game. I've said what has happened. I've said what has happened. Why would anybody be holding up the process to play games? Why can't we meet today? What's the reason? There's no reason. It's game playing on their side. They're trying to force a tax hike, and they're playing games right now, ego games. It's ridiculous. There's no place for that in our process.